what we need to do to build an 8 LED circuit is we're going to need 8 LEDs. It doesn't matter if they're red or green. 8 resistors, 8 red wires, and 1 green wire. To start this, my green wire is super long, and that's for a reason. I'm going to look for the letters G and D over by analog. That stands for ground. Plugging in one end of the green wire, I will now plug that other end of the green wire into the negative line on the far side. The reason I'm doing this is so that this will stay out of the way when we're making the rest of the circuit. Our code in our circuits asks us to use digital pins 2 through 9. So when I set up my LEDs, I'm going to spread them out over here, and that way I can easily access pins 2 through 9. So the long end of the LED, here's an LED, the long end's right here. I'm going to have it closest to the green part, the brain, and it's going to split the gap here. To utilize all the space, I'm putting mine in row 1. The short end's also going in row 1, but it's going across the gap. And specifically, mine's in 1E for the short end and 1F for the long end. Your board might be backwards. It might start at 30, where mine is 1, and you just need to accommodate for that. This is a resistor, and I'm going to plug in the resistor to this negative line because this is all this is all connected to the green wire. So that's why I don't need 8 more green wires. I just need resistors. I'm plugging this resistor into the negative wire and the other end into line 1. Specifically, I just put it in 1C. It doesn't really matter as long as it's in one of those 4 holes. I'm going to take a red wire and plug it in from the long end of the LED. So I picked 1J, and I'm going to plug this into digital pin 2. So notice how the code's already working, and I'll unplug the power so it doesn't work anymore. I had code uploaded, and the brain remembers code if you unplug it from the computer and replug it in at a later time, connecting it to power. Now all we got to do is just repeat this process except for the green wire. So for example, here's my long end of my LED. I'm going to go a few spaces away. I just so happen to pick row 5. So I picked row 5 for the long end. I picked row 5 for the short end. I need to connect it to the negative line, which is going to be the short end. So I'm plugging this resistor in to the negative line and also row 5. I'm going to straighten this a little bit more so it doesn't bend on me. And there we go. The last part we need to do is take a red wire and go from the long end, so row 5, into digital pin 3. And we are basically gonna repeat this process, skipping a few lines. So my long end's in row 8 now. My short end's also in row 8, but on the far side. Take a resistor to the green line, or the blue line in this case. And then I'm connecting this to digital pin 4. So I know these numbers because I looked at the array from the code, and that's where I got that from. So just continuing on here, just to finish, take the long end of the LED and plug it closest to the brain. So I put it in row 12 this time. And then the resistor. So this resistor is still connected to that green wire because this negative line is connected horizontally. The red wire is going to go from the positive end to digital pin number, we're on number 5 now. So we're on my 4th LED, but I'm on digital pin 5. I skipped digital pins 0 and 1. The long end of the LED going to digital pin number 15 this time, or row 15, sorry about that. So from row 15, going from the negative line with the resistor to row 15. And this resistor bent on me, so you just got to take it out, rebend it, plug it in, and then connect it with the red wire. And you can do this in any way, so you could have the red wires on the opposite side if you wanted to switch it up. Remember, the reason that I did the red wires on this side was because I wanted it to be a straight shot to the digital pins. I didn't want it to go over a bunch of resistors. That way it's easier for my fingers to get access to all the individual holes that are being plugged in. If you count them up, we will eventually be putting in 34 different pins in different places. And that's counting the resistors. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. So I got 2 more resistors to go, 2 more LEDs. And this one's bending on me quite a bit. I'll pause the video and restart it when I have the circuit back. Go. That's an 8 LED circuit. Just to show you where the electrons are going to travel from. They're going to go from the red wires through the LED, and they're going to heat up that little filament, and that's what creates the light energy. Go back through the negative side, through the resistor, and all the way to the ground, making a complete circuit. One thing you want to be careful is these resistors have bare wires, so make sure they don't touch each other, otherwise you're essentially shorting the circuit. We're not dealing with a whole lot of power, so you'll be okay. If you upload the code, right now this code is over and back. It looks like it's a little bit too bright for the camera, but we use 2 for loops to make this travel over and then come back. Alright, you can turn that back on.